Da, 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 da. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Nate, and today I want to talk about The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. This is probably one of the first games I remember ever playing back on the Gamecube, back in the early years. I rented it from Blockbuster and got to about Forsaken Fortress 1 and then had to return it. But I had a really great time playing it then. And so whenever the HD remake came out in like mid 2010s, I decided that I had to get it. And so I got it. The game is just super fun and I really enjoy playing it. The artwork is amazing and just fills me with so much joy and nostalgia whenever I open up the game and play it. I love all the speed techs in the game, like super swimming and item sliding. That's super fun to do and may crash my game a few times whenever I do it, but oh well. And I also enjoy the story. It's not a very in-depth story, but there's a lot going on, and it's a pretty generic Zelda story. Your sister gets kidnapped because she's thought to be Tetra, and so you go save her from the Helmarot King, and you discover Ganon, typical Zelda things, just like step 1, save your cat, final step, kill Ganondorf, like all of them. I love the boat mechanic. King of Red Lions is amazing, and it's such a free world once you get past Tower of the Gods, and I think that's one of my favorite things about it. Like, it's not Breath of the Wild open world, but it still gives you a direction to go in and says, oh, here's things you should do, or rather things that you are required to do, but here are 49 other islands you can go to in the game. And that's super fun, that you can just explore to your heart's content or not explore at all until you get to the Triforce collecting, and then you have to kind of explore for finding the shards of the Triforce of Courage. The Wind Waker, the game itself, is super fun, and I think my favorite mechanic of it is the Wind Waker itself. As someone who enjoys music, I love the choral, like, songs, like the Wind God's aria and Earth God's lyric. Those are just two really good choral pieces. The introduction, or like the Wind Waker song of it, not the songs themselves, because those aren't choral. But all the Wind Waker songs from the Wind Waker itself, not the game, are just really good chorally, and I love the melodies and the harmonies, and it all just comes together super well. I always play along with Link as he does the certain conductor's movements, because I'm weird like that. And yeah, the music of the game is also super good. Like, Dragon Roost Isle is an amazing song. It's top 10 easily. And Mulgara boss fight, best boss music maybe ever. And the ocean theme is also a super good song. Just takes me back. And like, it's just, the game overall has such great songs, and I just have to applaud the composer for knowing how to do that. Like, there's no way I could ever do that. It's ridiculous to me. Something I do dislike from the game is... what do I dislike?
20 minutes later.
I kind of dislike Orca and the sword 999 hits thing, but that's just because I'm bad at the mechanics of the game. You know, I can't hit the B and A button because I'm stupid. And I think once you get the fast sail, there's no need for the slow sail, and it's kind of pointless, but those aren't necessarily bad things overall, just kind of improvements other than Orca. Like, the fast sail was an improvement for the HD game, and Orca being 999 hits was in the original. Tingle on Wind Waker on GameCube, I never actually got to the Triforce collecting and having him have to decipher all of them, so I don't necessarily have bad memories with that, but I do like how you can just go at it after defeating Tower of the Gods. In my most recent playthrough of the game, I actually got like 3 or 4 of the Triforce shards before even getting either Sage, the Sages, Team Makar, or Team Medley. Which are you? I'm both. Because neither one is better than the other. But you just gotta appreciate them both for being amazing characters. I think that's another thing I enjoy. Like, both Makar and Medley were brought up early in the story, as in like the first island you travel to other than Windfall and Outset. And the next one, you meet them and you're like, oh my gosh, these are characters that will have just a short amount of relevance in the story. But then you later realize, after getting the Wind God's aria and the Earth God's lyric, that you have to find people with the instruments. And not only is that a great application of the Wind Waker being a conductor's baton, but it's also cool of like, it plays music. Like, it conducts choirs. And so it would also conduct a violinist and a harpist. And their solos of the songs, like their awakening pieces, are so cool. And I think Makar's is definitely more upbeat, but Medley's, I really enjoy the harmonies with it, and it's just super neat. The music, I'm going back to the music, but all the short songs, all the long songs, every single song in the game is fun, other than maybe like the ambiance focused songs. It's just an amazing game, and there's nothing else to say about it. Like, Grandma is an amazing person and did not deserve the beginning of the story to mistreat her the way it did. And Errol, amazing. Also, she's Big Brother. Hi. She's so cheerful, and just all the relevant characters, the developers just played them so well and made them so great. Like the king being the boat, the king of Red Lions, you're just like, what? If Nintendo does try to pull a Game Freak and release Wind Waker a third time like they did with Red and Blue, Pokemon Red and Blue that is, there's one thing that I hope they don't mess up, or do rather. I hope that they don't add voice acting because I think the game doesn't need it. Now, Breath of the Wild, it did help with like the storytelling. I think the greatest line of voice acting in the whole game though, because it does have some, is Ganon's laugh at the end of the game when he's about to grab the Triforce and King Hyrule yeets it away from him, and his evil laugh that's like and then it just descends into madness. I think that laugh is amazing, and no amount of voice acting in a second remake would ever be able to outdo it. I think the side quests of Wind Waker are super fun and super cool, like the cabana. Even though that's not necessarily a side quest, I still find it enjoyable to essentially have your own house as like a young child, young teenager, and you have like the door that's super sassy to you. I don't know, I just enjoy the cabana overall. The side quests on Windfall especially are super fun. Just taking pictures of people, which is totally okay if they're out in public, but not if they're in a private space, apparently. Just every character on Windfall especially has like their own unique personality that's brought out through the side quests. And something that I think is funny about Windfall especially is post Forsaken Fortress 2, I believe, when the daughters of the rich and poor man return, and they essentially switch roles. So the poor person is now the rich man, and the rich man is the poor person. And just the way that how they react to it is kind of funny to me. But other than that, the Wind Waker is an amazing game that has quirkiness, cheerfulness, good art style, great music. I just don't see anything necessarily horrid with it. I don't even think there's necessarily a dungeon that's worse than the others. Maybe like the boss Growl that is Ganon's tower, but that's meant to be that way, so you're like prepared and you remember how far you came. Forsaken Fortress 1 is annoying because we're not playing Metal Gear Solid, so we don't need to get caught and thrown in jail and all that stuff.
Snake, are you okay? Snake? Snake!
But that's the only thing, and that's like probably like 7-year-old me being mad that I got caught many times. I give this game a Wind God's aria out of Earth God's lyric. Thanks for watching.